The lay then passes to the side of the spire of the present cathedral and continues across country through 2 more Iron Age hill forts for a total length of 18 miles. The line was discovered even before Alfred Watkins' time by Sir Norman Lockyer, a former astronomer royal. Every site along it except Salisbury Cathedral is of prehistoric origin. Its credentials are impeccable. There couldn't be a better line to test. Do lays exist outside the map? That's it. I think, Charles, you can pay off now. Former BBC senior engineer Charles Brooker has a theory that lays may have been created by movements of the Earth's crust.
Many millions of years ago, it was very flat, but then the Earth contracted and pushed up these hills, and in doing so, formed a lot of Earth faults. In doing so also, the faults modified the Earth's magnetic field. And I had the idea that what these ancient people were doing when they were going from one place to another were feeling in their bones the effect of the distorted Earth's magnetic field. So I thought a very simple way to prove this was to get hold of a dowser and to get hold of a magnetometer and cross and recross these so-called ley lines, hypothetical ones, and see, in fact, if there was any correlation between the physical effect on the body, which the dowser would feel, and the reading on the magnetometer.
If Charles Brooker is right, a magnetometer should find the Salisbury ley in this field near its southern end. Ley line, the hypothetical ley line, which we found according to the map. The dowser is Will Hazel of the British Society of Dowsers. The magnetometer operator is Charles McKinnon, who works for an oceanographic equipment company in Aberdeen.
Any correlation at all?
So I think we'll get going. I think there's no sounding clear.
851, 852, and 853.
The white tape cuts across the line of the ley. We know from map readings and on-site observation exactly where the ley should be, but the run of the tape allows for a margin of error.
Very good. We have 857.
Charles McKinnon takes 3 readings
858.
at each point along the tape, again to help eliminate mistakes.
855. The next one?
The presence of magnetic film equipment could also affect the result, so this is a recreation of our real experiment.
856.
While we take the readings, Will Hazel, helped by Charles Brooker, is dowsing up the tape from the other end.
I've given myself a question program saying, is there a ley line in this field? And what happens, the left hand swings across like that, while the right hand still keeps pointing forward. So I say to the right side, when I reach the ley line itself, I want you to cross. I'd like you to cross. Then I dismiss the question from my mind. I program myself.
And at the end of the tests, what are the results?
I found at the start there was a straight line running from behind where I stand across, and I pegged both sides for the width of the line, and I would say then I would be on the path of an ancient trackway.
That's not quite a straight line. What did the magnetometer find?
Well, within the constraints of the survey lines we've carried out, and we have carried out quite a number, we've quartered some 3 areas along this area, we haven't found any distinct anomalies, most certainly not. A reasonable spread of readings, nothing of which one would find untoward. Nothing distinct, absolutely nothing distinct.
So, the magnetometer hadn't found a thing. And despite the dowser's enthusiasm, we got the same 0 result when we repeated the test at the other end of the ley. Worse, it turns out that the ley itself is suspect. The markers are so large that the line can actually be moved, and it will still go through them all. The only exception is the northern tumulus. But there are a dozen tumuli here, and the new line hits one of them. Perhaps archaeologists are right to doubt Leys after all.
First of all, it's certainly possible that archaeology could be wrong about anything. We can agree on that as scientists, so to speak. It's our job to see that we might be wrong. And if you found 7 or 8 prehistoric monuments in a real straight line, you'd have to say, wow, this is something significant. But there is really no sign of that. At the moment, what we have is a couple of church towers and a dew pond and a long barrow, then a big site like a hill fort that's huge anyway, and any number of lines would go through it. And the whole thing just doesn't add up together very well. And the lay hunters really, in my view, have got to come up with more surprising things than those pleasant countryside walks amongst the church towers if they're going to convince anybody.
The idea of Leys still remains very attractive. It would be nice to think that our remote ancestors knew something that we don't, that their marks on the countryside speak of a lost golden age. But we've investigated the idea of Leys honestly, and we've been unable to come up with a shred of evidence to bolster the idea. Until such evidence is produced, the existence of Leys, I am afraid, will remain very doubtful indeed.